What's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Ducks Dish podcast. I'm your host, Max Torres, publisher and lead editor of Ducks Digest, covering the Oregon Ducks for Sports Illustrated on Fan Nation. Got a big guest today, talking with 2022 Oregon defensive linebacker hybrid recruit Cyrus Moss out of the Nevada State champion Bishop Gorman Gales. How we doing, man? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing real good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to get into this one, Cyrus. Kind of just to start things off. How's everything going? You got that Nevada State title this past week. Just tell me a little about your senior season and what it's like to go out like that.
Yeah, well, it's been a big goal of ours for a long time. Not playing our junior season due to COVID. It's been a big accomplishment for us to get to this state championship because it's been something that we've been working for longer than any team has. And when we lost that state championship my sophomore year, we never forgot about that. And we kept that as a chip on our shoulder the entire time. So I've just been working with my brothers and working with my teammates to come and get that back. So it's been the biggest thing on our minds since we lost it that first time a few years ago. So it's been big to finish our season off the way that we've been looking to end it since the beginning.
Awesome. Well, that's a great way to go out, winning that state title. And, state, like I think I've said it multiple times before, Nevada's definitely slept on. I mean, obviously you're one of the best players in the state, but they got a lot of really big guys coming out of there. Cyrus, you recently dropped that top three, narrowing it down. That top three consistent of Alabama, Arizona State, and the Oregon Ducks. I want to kind of break down those schools and what you're seeing from them. But first question I want to ask you, Cyrus, obviously you've been going through this process for a while. Why did you decide to make this cut when you did right now?
Well, I feel really confident in these three schools that they're going to be the three that I'm ready to really heavily consider. And I feel like I'm getting pretty close to making my decision. So I just kind of wanted to make that cut and know that there's only a few schools left that I'm really considering. And I'm ready to make that cut. So went ahead and dropped it.
Cool. All right, man. Well, let's get right into it. I want to start things off with the Alabama Crimson Tide. They got the number one recruiting class for the SIL American Team rankings in 2022. You were out there for a visit on your birthday back in June. Just tell me a little bit about what you're liking about Alabama. What's standing out about them, and maybe some of the relationships you've been able to build.
Well, I would say for Alabama, it's definitely their culture and their atmosphere that they've built over there. They've been super successful for a long time, and that's credit to what they've been doing inside those doors. And just getting out to that school and being able to see that staff and see the way that they do things, it's obvious why they've been so successful year after year. So I've just really liked what I've seen from them and the way that they run their program, and I've been able to make a great relationship with Coach Sal and Coach Wiggins. I've really enjoyed that. So yeah.
I feel like every time we talk about, these programs around the country and how they're evolving, they're always chasing that Bama standard, right? That is the gold standard of college football. Nick Saban's the best in the business. My question for you, Cyrus, just take me a little bit inside that visit. What was it like for you to get out to Tuscaloosa and really be around the players and be around the staff of one of the top programs in the country?
Well, I would say the visit, it was definitely game-changing. It was eye-opening. It definitely showed me a lot about the program and changed where they were sitting for me just because of how much I enjoyed it. So just getting to see in person, the coaches and see how they coach because you get to talk about different things, but then getting to actually experience how he might coach me or how, what type of techniques he uses and get to hear that and get to really experience that was really cool. It was really cool. I would say that was one of the biggest experiences was just getting to see how Coach Sal coached because I loved it. He had a different level of passion and just aggression and fire to him, and it was cool. I really connected with Coach.
Okay. Yeah, and then I know that a lot of people when they go on those visits to Alabama, they see all the NFL helmets and the visors in the main lobby that have where which Alabama players are on that team going across the visor, which is super cool. You see the pictures of people in Saban's office with all the rings. What was that like for you, getting to meet the head coach and kind of be in that element?
Yeah, well, it just goes to show that um, what they've been building again is it's been so successful, and you can see they've had tons of people go to the NFL from that school. Tons of people just accomplish tons of things from that school over the years, and it's all been under Nick Saban, and they're continuing to have Nick Saban for another. So was his contract extended until 2028?
He's gonna be there for a while. I mean, you
Yeah,
see the news that comes down, and it's like, man, that guy's just gonna be coaching forever. It feels like.
yeah, right. His leadership is it's next level. I haven't seen another coach that kind of truly just runs the program and keeps everything just how he wants it, other than him. He truly knows how it's supposed to be done. He knows what's the right way, what's the wrong way. He's been doing it for a long time. So I just have tons of trust in him and the way that he's been uh, handling his program and the way he's ran things.
A lot of times when I ask these guys that are looking at Alabama, sometimes their answer will be as simple as it's Bama. Like, that's just how it goes. But it's cool to get some insight there from you on kind of where things stand with the Tide and what your personal experience was like. Moving right along, let's bring it out west a little bit, closer to home for you out in Vegas, the Arizona State Sun Devils. That's a program that I think has been on the rise in the Pac-12 for a little bit now with Herm Edwards running the show. He's brought in some pretty high level coaches. They're sitting at 7-3 right now, and just kind of want to ask you, Cyrus. I know you were there recently for a visit out in Tempe. Just tell me a little bit about what you're liking about the Arizona State program, and then kind of similar with Bama. Some of the staff you've been able to build relationships with.
I would say with Arizona State, one of the biggest thing is their staff. Um, I've since day one, they came in as an early recruiter for me, and since day one, it's been amazing with them. I've been able to make a great relationship with Coach Pierce and Coach Rod and lots of the staff down there, and I just really trust in what they're doing. Like you said, they've brought in high level coaches. It's the NFL staff. Coach Pierce and Coach Rod, they just have unlimited amounts of knowledge and unlimited amount of tools to give. Um, I just feel like just even talking to them for 10 seconds, it feels like you might be able to pick up something useful. So uh, I really like the staff there, and it's one of my favorite staffs for sure. And that's just been one of the biggest things that I have trust in that, and I have trust in the vision that they have down there for me and my position. I know that they'll use me the way that I'm trying to be used, and I know Coach will look out for me to the most. So it's been great connections with Arizona State.
Cyrus, you talk about having confidence in the vision that the staff has for you. Let's keep it there for a second, man. What is that vision that they have for you? Because I feel like people look at you and your game, and you're very tall, but I know you probably want to add a little bit more to your frame, playing that hybrid kind of a defensive front position. So what's that vision for you, and what's the vision that you hope to have as far as being utilized at the next level?
Yeah. Well, Arizona State, they use kind of a thing they call X factor players, where they know which players are able to play in different spots and do lots of different things. So coach kind of always pushed that he thinks I'm an X factor type of player that can really work to add lots of different tools to the game and just become versatile. So that would look like coming off the edge to playing inside the tackles to playing back in coverage to spying the quarterback to basically just the vision would be to allow me to do the most amount of things that I can and showcase that. So basically, just allowing myself to just maximize myself as a player and just making sure that they never pigeonhole me into a certain position or they really allow the athlete to kind of prosper and kind of develop and just do what they can do. So yeah, it's just kind of I guess their vision for me is just to push me to that next level of versatility, um, where I'm able to affect the game, pass rush, run stop in, pass coverage, just whenever is needed.
that versatility that we're seeing from a lot of guys, particularly on defense, I think is a cool thing to follow.
Wait, hold on, I'm getting a little bit of audio.
Okay, no worries. Are we good now?
No, it's making it seem like you're robotic. Hmm.
Uh,
Maybe now.
hmm.
Oh, there it goes. That sounds better.
We're good
Yeah,
now?
yeah. It was like, yeah, I couldn't hear anything. Not
No
sure.
worries, man. All right, cool. Glad we're back. But yeah, that versatility is just something that's so valuable in college defenses. Having someone that you can kind of plug in wherever and ask them to do a bunch of different things. One of the questions I wanted to follow up on, Cyrus, with you, you were talking about how Arizona State was one of those earlier offers for you, and they showed that faith in you. For someone who gets as many offers as you do, obviously, you appreciate all of them. They're all a blessing to help you get to the next level and have that opportunity. What does that really mean to you to have someone jump in early, seeing that you've evolved so much throughout your high school career?
Yeah, well, I think it's huge because even at the time when Arizona State started recruiting me, I was playing a whole nother position. I was still playing safety, but even then, coach still had trust and faith that I was going to become the player that I was set to become. And he saw the vision before even I could see it. That he told me that I wouldn't be a safety; I'd be moving down the linebacker. And I was like, sure. He was like, look at you, you're going down the linebacker. And I was like, we'll see. And sure enough, I went down the linebacker, and then I've been working at it from there. So I would say it's definitely been huge because he believed in me before I'd even really started off. So I knew that he had that true trust in me.
Okay, and which coach was that, Cyrus?
Coach Pierce.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Wow. Yeah. I can't. I mean, I see you play now, and it's like I can't even imagine you being at safety just with all the havoc you're wrecking along the line. Um, and then let's talk about that third school. What everyone's interested in for me and my site, the Oregon Ducks. You were here in Eugene for Saturday Night Live. I got to see you at that camp. They had the number 6 class in the SI All-American 2022 rankings. Bunch of really talented guys. What are you seeing from the Ducks, and who are you talking to, building those relationships there?
Well, there, yeah, I've been able to create lots of great relationships as well. I know, I feel like I know lots, almost know the whole staff. They're always constantly contacting me, making sure they're reaching out and making sure that they know where I sit with them. And yeah, I've really enjoyed just being able to um, meet their staff. They've hired some new guys recently, new defensive analysts, and I've enjoyed every hire that they've made. And I think they've all been great additions to the staff. And I've just really enjoyed the way they're approaching that with adding those extra guys in there, analyzing that defensive line, and I just really enjoyed getting to meet all those guys and meeting their staff. I think it was good staff.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like those strong relationships are part of the big thing that's standing out for you with the Ducks. I mean, you've probably been asked this a million times, so I don't want to harp on it too much. But the you being the next Kayvon Thibodeaux in their system, on the one hand, you're going to be your own player, right? You got your own unique skill set, and you're going to leave your mark on whatever program you go to. But you see a guy wrecking havoc and really just having a great career like Kayvon Thibodeaux. Just tell me about what that pitch is like for you, hearing it from Oregon about kind of being utilized in a similar way.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's definitely huge. Getting to see that there is an example there at the program already is huge. I feel like I feel like I definitely I've appreciated that influence from Kayvon and just being able to speak with him. I feel like that's been big as far as kind of allowing me to really understand like where how did he got to where he got to and why the Ducks were a big part of that and you know what making this decision what that means and what all goes into it and just kind of talking to him has allowed me to really understand a few more things and understand what the Ducks have done for him and how they've helped him get to where he's gotten to. So it's been really big just seeing what Kayvon's doing and watching him do his thing down there. I'm seeing it. It's nice.
Definitely, definitely. Just a couple more for you, man. we had talked about, your official visit when you came out, and I think it was Coach Waddell took you on a trip on his Jeep, in the Jeep. That was obviously a very unique experience in the recruiting process. Just tell me a little bit more about kind of what that meant to you to, have such a personal touch, I feel like, in one of those recruiting visits.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the biggest things that trip was that Jeep ride because it was different and it was a different level of just personality that I hadn't experienced yet, and so it was really good to do that, and I really felt just a genuine just enjoyment. Um, just had fun, honestly, and it was outside of football and outside of the regular stuff that we're always doing. So I thought that was huge. That was really good.
Yeah, a lot of the guys that I talk to, they like the outdoors here in Eugene, checking out the forestry and some of the back roads that I'm sure you saw on that Jeep trip. Um, Last two questions for you, Cyrus. What's next for you as far as your timeline? Any other trips you want to take? What are things looking like as far as like signing and enrolling?
Well, so far I'm just looking to go out to Oregon again at the end of the month, trying to go out for the Oregon State game, and then I'm trying to come back out one more time to Alabama, and then make my decision by early signing period, and then wait to uh, officially announce it at the All American Bowl.
All right. Yeah, getting a little insight into what's next, talking with 2022 defensive end linebacker Cyrus Moss on the Ducks Dish podcast. Cyrus, that was one of the other questions I wanted to ask you. Do you view yourself more as a defensive end or a linebacker? Because I feel like whenever I'm writing something up, I don't know which one to say.
Yeah, well, I would say that's honestly a really hard question for me to answer too. There's days where I want to be defensive end, and there's days where I want to be linebacker, but because I feel like I can play both, and I honestly feel like I could identify as either one. I play at both spots. I played traditional defensive end in games, and then there's been games where I've played pretty much only coverage. So I say that question is honestly one that's hard to answer at times. But technically, I am a 3-4 outside linebacker.
All right, there you have it from Cyrus Moss himself. Last one for you, Cyrus, before we get out of here. As obviously you have two more trips that you're planning, and you have a big decision to make. What's going to be the most important to you? What are you going to be weighing the most when you're going to make that decision about where you're going to be calling home for the next 3 to 4 years?
I feel like I've already done a lot of the logistics of figuring out what each school has, and I feel like now that I've gone down to these final three, I feel like they all have pretty much everything that I've been looking for. So at this point, it's just going to be kind of a feel thing and just waiting to see which school gives me that right feel and which staff it feels like I have full trust in, full confidence in, and just basically which place feels right. I
All
feel
right.
like they've done everything else.
Okay, so I didn't want to cut you off there. All right. Well, there you have it from 2022 defensive lineman, outside linebacker Cyrus Moss, breaking down his top three here on the Ducks Dish podcast. Well, big thanks to Cyrus for hopping on the pod here and giving us an insight into his recruitment and high school season. Gonna have to stay tuned to see what happens next in that recruitment. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube, Oregon Football Max Torres. And we will see you guys in the next episode.